Hello, everybody. Andy here. I had promised or said that I was going to try to do a series of videos, possibly, or at least get somebody on the phone who would talk about wealth management and sudden wealth, something like that. And when I explained the situation, because I couldn't give anybody a specific amount or I couldn't be real specific with entries, after the fourth time, I said, I'm done. I'm not calling anybody else. We'll just have to see what I can do as far as figuring out how to help. And I did just a little bit of searching online, and I found a site, Pacifica Wealth, and they have a sudden wealth, the 6 things you must know about money that comes sudden. And it's more thorough in explanation than I could possibly give you. Before I read it, I want to make sure that you understand I'm not giving advice. I don't know enough about it to be someone to give advice. So I just want to go through this, and I won't give up, but I know there's a lot of people that are wanting to know something now. So this might be of a little bit of benefit to you, and you can kind of see where it goes and see what it will do for you. And I'll just give it a shot here. And this is a says lottery winning advisor sudden wealth planning. So it can happen all of a sudden. Money that may or may not be expected comes to you overnight. But just what is sudden wealth? There's gradual money and there's money that comes suddenly. Most of us are used to gradual money, earning an income and building a nest egg over time. It's a slow and steady process. As our net worth increases over the years, we adapt and slowly become more financially sophisticated. We may first hire a CPA to do our taxes when the deductions get too complex. Then hire an investment advisor to manage our growing wealth, and then hire an attorney to help us create an estate plan. It's like riding a smooth elevator. You're going up, but you hardly feel it. Then there's money that comes suddenly. It's like being on the ground floor of a 60-story building and rocketing to the penthouse suite in seconds. It sounds a lot more exciting than gradual money, but what exactly is it? Sudden wealth, or money that comes suddenly, means getting more money than you're used to being responsible for and getting it all at once. There's no minimum dollar amount to qualify as sudden wealth. And the reason I found this applicable is, we've got people with 3 blocks and we've got people with over 400 blocks and everywhere in between. So what might apply to somebody with 10 blocks or 20 blocks may not be requiring the same structure as somebody that's got 400 plus blocks, because they're going to make 40 times more. But it also is about owning dinar. You may own 50,000 dinar. Some may own several million. I know a person that's got 20 million. I know another person that has well over 100 million. I know people that have 100,000 and everywhere in between. So there are different stages of sudden wealth. So basically what it says here is there's no minimum dollar amount to qualify as sudden wealth. The distinguishing factor is that the amount has to be large enough to take you out of your financial comfort zone. I'll keep reading it. If you're struggling to get by and suddenly get a check for 10,000, this might push you outside of your financial comfort zone. On the other hand, if you're a multimillionaire and inherit 100,000, you might not miss a beat. Again, the amount isn't important. It's your reaction to the amount that determines if it is sudden wealth. Where does sudden wealth come from? It may have resulted from luck or hard work. It may have been years in the making, or it may have happened in an instant. It might have been the result of a long and bitter battle, or of simply being at the right place at the right time. I feel like that's us. We're at the right place at the right time while we're working on this, and we're hoping it happens. Once we get it, I mean, we're going to suddenly be hit with that. You know, I can't remember the restaurant. They used to come in and hit you with the frying pan, and it's just going to be, you realize, wow, now I have all this money. What do I do? So I think this is, you sort of plan for it, and so you bought Dinar, or you bought into this group or another group, and while you're anticipating, it has not hit yet. So yeah, just being at the right place at the right time. And I think that is kind of what we've done here. But to continue, it may have come from a painful end or a happy beginning. Typically, money that comes suddenly originates from a lawsuit, divorce, sale of a business, inheritance, lottery winnings, sports, entertainment contracts, retirement packages, or stock options. Those aren't limited, but that's the majority of sudden wealth. Regardless of where the money comes from, you're the same person you were the day before you received it. But you are quickly thrust into a new and often uncomfortable situation. While sudden wealth sounds like a great thing, it can cause anxiety, indecision, and fear in those who don't adapt or develop a strategy. Have you heard of the woman from New Jersey who won 2 lotteries totaling $5.4 million? She spent it all and now lives in a trailer. What about the entrepreneur who earned $24 million overnight from a successful IPO? Within a few months, he lost it all. What about the man who won $16.2 million? Less than a year later, he was $1 million in debt and now lives on Social Security. Unfortunately, there are a lot more stories just like this. In fact, according to an MSN article, as many as 70% of those who come into sudden wealth end up losing it all because of their inability to deal with the practical, financial, and emotional issues involved. If you're the recipient of money that comes suddenly, follow these 6 steps to ensure you don't end up another sad statistic. Step 1, build your sudden wealth financial team. While you may be in uncharted waters, you'll want to create a financial team composed of people who live and breathe in these waters. They can help you navigate the numerous tax, financial, and legal issues that arise. This is the first step because there may be time-sensitive opportunities to deal with immediately that can help you save or defer taxes. Who should be on your team? At a minimum, you'll want a CPA, an estate attorney, and a financial advisor. You should also consider a money psychologist. And if your windfall is highly publicized, a publicist to handle the media on your behalf or to give you the tools to communicate effectively with the media yourself. Note, if your sudden wealth is the result of a lawsuit, judgment, settlement, talk to your attorney before you talk to the media or hire a publicist. He or she may have other pending cases that could be affected by what you say. Don't really think that applies to us, but there it is. Your windfall financial team needs to have only your interests in mind. Sudden wealth can cause feelings of fear and paranoia. The last thing you need is to wonder if the advice you're receiving is in your best interest or in the best interests of your advisors. Only hire a CPA and an attorney who charge by the hour. Don't work for an investment advisor that sells their own products, charges commissions, or receives referral fees. Your advisor's compensation shouldn't be tied to the advice they give you. And I will stretch that so far as to say, be careful what you invest in afterwards. Be very, very careful. Don't take people's word for it. Make sure that there is a contract. Make sure that you have that attorney look over that contract. Do not, because you believe in somebody doesn't mean diddly. You can kiss that money goodbye in most cases. So please, please, please don't, even though you think you know somebody, you don't always know them. So be very, very, very careful about investing in anything without seeking the advice of an attorney. And they aren't looking at it on a personal level. They shouldn't be. So just make sure there are going to be people out there to go, okay, now that you've got all this money coming to you, I want you to invest with me, and we're going to do this and we're going to do that with no experience. But because you have an affiliation with them, you may be compelled to do so. I strongly, strongly advise against it. Always do business in writing. Never give without having something to show for it. So anyway, I'll get back. So where do you find your team? If you already have a CPA or attorney, ask them for help. If your windfall is substantial, chances are good that you've outgrown your current advisors. Your team needs to have the skills and experience helping clients with similar assets and under similar circumstances. Be honest with them. Tell them you're building your team and you need referrals. Once you get referrals, interview them. Ask them about their experience, training, and how they'd work for you. Question how they charge and if they receive compensation from any source other than their clients. Again, you want to make sure they are objective. In other words, a lot of business is pat on the back. Here's a little thanks for getting me that client. Thanks for doing this for me. Thanks for doing that for me. And you're likely not going to get around that. But there are a lot of reputable people out there, and they will tell you, yes, I will get kickbacks. Yes, I will get a commission. Yes, I will get. Those are not the people you want to deal with. They should be able to charge you a set amount or charge you a monthly amount based on the amount that they're handling for you or something like that. But if they are pushing you over here because that helps draw a commission on the back end, you know, it's like a car dealership. You go and buy a car, and once you've gotten past the salesman and into the finance office, they start pushing the insurances. They start pushing the gap. They start pushing extended warranty. If you bicker with them enough, they'll come down and they'll come down and they'll come down. But they're way up here at the beginning. Why? Because they're making money off of it. Then, if you don't already have a bank or something set up, they're going to deal with the banks that offer them the best under the table. In other words, you sell this at 3.5%, and we're gonna give you 0.5%. So I don't know exactly how all that works, but I know it happens. I had somebody tell me it happened, so I'm assuming they weren't lying about it. But anyway, when you have somebody working for you, they need to be working for you, not working for themselves through other people to get kickbacks and stuff. I don't know how you judge that. I don't know how you determine it, but and that's why I say referrals are a lot of times the best way to find the right people. Once you get the referrals, you interview them, you ask them about their experience, training, and how they'd work with you. Question how they charge. If they receive compensation from any other source other than their clients, talking about, are they getting a kickback? Are they getting a portion of the pie that this other person is charging? So, all right. Step 2, calculate your end of the day number. Not all sudden wealth is created equally. A check for $20 million may actually be worth less than a check for $10 million. How? Taxes. If you receive an inheritance, you won't have to pay any tax on it. If you win a judgment, part of it might be tax-free, but chances are that you'll have to pay tax on the rest. When it comes to taxes, The last thing you want is a surprise. Each sudden wealth event has different tax ramifications. It's important to know how much tax you're going to have to pay so you can plan for it. Work with your CPA to find out exactly how much tax you owe. Once you know the amount, take this money, put it in a separate account, and don't touch it. And I'm going to add a little bit there. You can plan on paying the max amount if you're not going to do anything, if you don't have trust or something to put it in. If you don't, then likely you're going to pay the top, say 37%. So take at least 35%, put it in an account. Now, if you're able to work things out and you're able to invest or you're able to do something with the other money, that's fantastic. But put that money that you think you might end up having to pay into an account and leave it alone. At the end of the year, if you don't have to pay that much tax because you've done this and this with the money, you've invested here, you've invested there, and that's deductible, fantastic. Now you've got some extra play money. But definitely don't get caught in the trap of not having enough to pay Uncle Sam. It will be disastrous for you. Also, what are your other liabilities? Do you have a large mortgage, unpaid credit card debt, other outstanding loans? How much are all your liabilities combined? Add them up. Write them down, add them up, and get your end of the day number. That is your sudden wealth plus your previous savings minus any taxes that are due and your total debt. Your end of the day number tells you how much you have to spend, invest, and live off of. It's a critical number. Don't buy anything, invest, or make any money decisions until you have this number. Don't get in a hurry, is what they're trying to say. Do not hurry and make a bad decision. Make sure you have your team lined up. Make sure you're talking to them. Make sure you know what number you're dealing with. And this is what happens to people. They get excited. They think they've got all this money. It's not going to hurt to go buy this luxury car. It's not going to hurt to go buy this new home. It's not going to hurt to do this and go on vacation and send mom and dad somewhere and do this and treat people and have a big dinner at your expense and go have a party. And before you know it, it's gone. But you still have those taxes to do. So plan ahead. Step 3, create a sudden wealth wish list. The first 2 steps are a little dry and possibly depressing. I mean, who likes paying taxes? But once you get them done, you can have some fun. Brainstorm all of the things you want to own and do. Don't hold back. After you create the list, categorize every item as a would like or an if possible. Would like items are things that are important to you, such as buying a new home and paying for your children's education. If they're not already on your list, I would add pay off debt and save for retirement to this list. If possible, items include everything else: travel, gifts to family members, and quitting your job. Once you've brainstormed everything you want to own and do, rank those items in terms of importance. Here's how your list should start. Number 1, pay taxes. Number 2, pay off debt. Number 3, save for retirement. Number 4, everything else. You prioritize them to your liking. Doesn't matter what somebody else says or does. You do what you like. Just plan. Okay, step 4. Determine what is possible after receiving sudden wealth. Before you pay that house or car and before you quit your job, you need to determine how far your windfall will allow you to go. Give your ranked wish list to your investment advisor to help you calculate what you'll be able to do without getting into financial trouble down the road. This is one of the most important steps because you'll know what you can do and what you can't. You won't wake up in a cold sweat wondering if you can afford the trip to Hawaii. You'll know. If the people who received the money suddenly, I discussed earlier, had taken the time to complete just this step, they wouldn't be broke or in debt today. Once you know what you can afford, go the extra step and develop checks and balances. For example, make a commitment with your CPA or investment advisor that you will run all purchases by them if they exceed more than a set dollar amount. Or that you'll give yourself a cooling off period, say 48 hours, before you make an impulse purchase over a certain dollar limit. You're not asking permission, it's your money. You're simply doing what you can to make sure you are making wise decisions with your money and not letting your emotions take control. Step 5, go back to school. You don't really have to go back to school unless you want to, but you should take some time to get a financial education. Your financial team should explain concepts and strategies so you understand them. But there's no substitute for studying the issues on your own. You can take a class at your local university on business or personal finance. If the thought of sitting in a classroom brings tears to your eyes, there are plenty of alternatives. Various organizations hold conferences and mini courses that specifically address managing wealth. You can find sudden wealth resources here, and I'll take a look at that in just a moment. When all else fails, you can always count on a good book. The writer of this article says, I authored the book, The Sudden Wealth Solution, 12 Principles to Transform Sudden Wealth into Lasting Wealth. It's a great resource for people who are suddenly receiving money. While you're reading, create a list of questions. Then bring them with you when you meet with your advisors. They'll be able to answer your questions or clarify anything you've read. And I think that is a really good idea to do right now. Start reading, start learning, and look for things that apply to you. While we don't know a rate, of course, so we don't know exactly what to expect, we can base it on the fundamental idea that it's going to be likely somewhere between 50 cents and $3.50. You know, if it's $1 and you've got $1 million, you've now got $1 million. Make a plan at $1 million. Make a plan at $2 at $2 million. Make a plan at $3 million. Make a plan at $5 million. And start writing things down and see where that takes you. If nothing else, in a year or two down the road, after you've gotten this sudden wealth, you can have a good laugh. What you thought you were going to do compared to what you were really able to do. But okay. Step 6, monitor, monitor, monitor. In real estate, it's location, location, location. With sudden wealth, it's monitor, monitor, monitor. The financial plan you created yesterday is already out of date. That's okay, and it's to be expected. This doesn't mean you need to constantly make changes, but it does mean you should be kept apprised of what's happening and if you're still getting off track, or if you are getting off track. In practice, this means meeting with your investment advisor and CPA at least once a quarter, or more often if your events in your life have changed. If the sudden wealth recipients discussed earlier had monitored their financial situation, they'd be in much better financial shape right now. And I won't be able to stress this enough. If you do have a financial advisor and they say you really don't want to buy this item, you really don't be offended. Listen to them, take their advice. If you say, Pshaw, I really want this $250,000 diamond bracelet or whatever it could be, and they've advised you against it, they're not telling you because they don't want you to have it. They're telling you because they're looking at your financial situation, and it's really not a good idea. So if you're going to pay for somebody's advice, typically you should probably take it. So here's the minimum you'll want to know every quarter? Your net worth. This answers the question: how much am I worth after paying all of my debts? It's an important number that needs to be reviewed often. Excessive spending and or poor investment returns can eat away at your assets and decrease your net worth over time. We have an online mod tool called 360 Wealth View where clients can instantly see their updated net worth and investment allocation anytime they wish. And this, again, I'm going to put this link into the description so you'll know where I'm getting all this from. Cash flow. This report shows a running tally of your income and expenses. You should be able to see exactly what was earned and what was spent over a period of time, a quarter, semi-annually, annually. You'll want to be aware of two situations. First, are you earning less than you projected? If you're expecting, because you got $1 million and you think there's no way I should get less than 8 or 9%, what happens if you only do get 5%? And you just got to be prepared and adjust. So second, are you spending more than you projected? Occasionally, earning less or spending more than you thought shouldn't be an issue, but if it becomes a regular occurrence, you'll need to make a change. Investment summary. You should know how your investments performed over the last quarter, and you should get an economic financial update. Again, a quarter of underperformance shouldn't be a problem, but several quarters might be. These 3 reports will keep your finger on your financial pulse, but because you're only reviewing these 4 times a year, you should have plenty of free time to enjoy your new money. A bonus step, the most important: give back. Receiving money suddenly can open a lot of doors and provide fantastic opportunities. There's nothing wrong with enjoying your windfall. Now might be a good time to let those who are less fortunate also share in your success. The emotional benefits can be priceless, and you might even get a nice tax break. Just make sure you talk to your CPA and investment advisor to make sure it is in line with your overall plan and that you are maximizing all possible tax benefits. Whatever the source of the sudden wealth, it's yours now. Relax, take a deep breath, and follow these 6 steps to ensure you're making the best financial decisions you can. All this sounds simple, and you think, okay, I'll do this and this and this, and you come into that sudden wealth, and you go in a whole different direction. If you can't hang on to what this brings you, it's not going to be anybody else's fault, like the lady that won all that money and now lives in a trailer. You can have a good time for a while. You can have a great time for a while. But that great time can come at an expense. And you'll be right back where you were, waiting and hoping the dinar changes soon. Yet it already has. It already left you behind. The good thing is, if you're invested in our stock group, then dividends should be coming in annually. So not only is some of your money, if you had dinar and you're working with that and you're staying within that limit, then this each year could be that bonus that you do spend on something else, that you do something else with, that you give to someone else, charity-wise I'm talking. So the difference is, it's not, if you're in the stock group, it's not a one-time sudden wealth event. It's going to be an annual event at minimum. So we could be paying out 3, 4, 5, 6 times a year, or we might pay out 1 or 2 times a year. It's going to take a while. There's no way we can know. This past year, one of the stocks should have paid, well, 2 of them should have paid in, they should have had their annual meeting, the stockholders meeting. They call it General Assembly. They should have had it in April. And by first or second week of June, the dividends should have been paid out to us. Well, it didn't happen because of the pandemic. So it didn't get paid out until sometime in September. I want to say in September. So there it was, 4 or 5 months late getting to people. I can't remember exactly, but it was at least 4 months. So you can't plan on it annually. So you've got to be able to adjust with what you have and what's been given to you. Once we do announce that another dividend is going to be paid, you can adjust what you're doing. You know, this is going to be about constant growth, constant change, and constant adjustment. Because you set this plan and you're with your tax advisors and your CPA and they're all telling you all this and all this and all this. Well, that's all fine and good, but now you may have another multi-thousand-dollar year that is going to require everything that they said to be adjusted. So you've got to be ready to adapt and grow. What happens in a bad year? What if Iraq, none of the stocks pay any dividends? What can we do at that point? I mean, we can't force them to pay dividends, and anything can happen. We had one bank, not this past year, I think the year before when we first started, that came out with an announcement that they were going to reinvest their dividends. They weren't paying any dividends, or they were going to reinvest it into the business. We can't say, hey, no, you got to pay us dividends. So had we been dependent on that, had they paid it in the past, and we say, okay, you know, nothing's changing, we're not selling any, the stock is roughly the same price, may have gone up or down just a hair, it's going to, so next year we can count on, you know, it pays out in June, and we got $600 a block. I mean, I'm just throwing an example out there. I have no idea. And you got, you know, 100 blocks. That's $60,000 you got last year. Now it's coming around middle of May, and you're thinking, next month I'm going to have $60,000. Not necessarily. So you can't plan on money that you don't already have. Okay? So I think this is this doesn't have near as much information as you need. You definitely need to talk to the right people. And you don't have to talk to one person and go with them. Be comfortable with the person that you're going to have as a CPA. You're going to have a lot of dealings with them. So it has to be somebody that you're comfortable being around, that you believe is above reproach. And if you come across somebody that you truly trust, you can be let down. You know, I've been through an experience just in the past few months where I was very let down by somebody I thought I could trust. And no matter what, you don't know the other person's heart. You don't know what the other person is thinking. And you're going to get burned. In the long run, you'll get burned. But you can always, if you trust that person, then those are the people that you would want to get referrals from. You know, if you've got a good CPA, say, hey, who's a good lawyer, you know, that I can really trust? Or who's a good wealth manager? Who's a good, whatever service you need? And they will either say, I don't know, you know, I really don't like referring people, or whatever they may tell you. Then you move on and find somebody yourself. There's usually somebody in the family or a close friend of the family that has more than the rest of the family. And those people, if they've had wealth for a while, they may be able to refer you to somebody. So if you know somebody that's had money all their life, that you've known them, and they're still living the same lifestyle, then they're obviously doing something right. I mean, it depends on the situation, of course, but you would judge that and ask them, hey, who does your taxes? Hey, who's your attorney? Who's this? Who's that? You know, how do you protect your money? Who do you have that protects your money? And, you know, the family, hopefully they're good enough, then they'll treat you right, or a close friend of the family, or somebody. There's always somebody out there that you already know that you can trust. Again, when it comes to investments, don't do business with somebody who doesn't, I don't know the best way to put this. If they don't want to put everything out there and show you their cost analysis, show you their plans, show you a prospectus, basically, run. Don't do business with those people. They may have the best plans in the world, but they're dumb as a stump when it comes to business. So please be careful. That's all I can say. You know, if when this finally does happen, and we've got this money coming in, I can only pray that everybody gets the right people to help them out. I plan, this is the money that comes from this is a philanthropy account for me. I have plenty of dinar that no matter what happens, that dinar is going to take care of me for the rest of my life. I'll never have a champagne lifestyle. It's just not in me. I don't want it. I'll improve some things naturally, and I'll spend more. I'm not saying I'm going to stay in my home and go another 10 years without a vacation or anything like that. No, I will spend money. My lifestyle will change, but I'm never going to have those finer things just because I can have those finer things. That's just never going to be me. So I know I'm not going to have to worry about my wealth because I'm not going to flaunt it and I'm not going to blow it. So everything that I've got dinar-wise is going to be more than enough for me and my family. The stock trading that we're doing with Woolard Enterprises, I'm going to have to invest a lot of that into an office and employees and things like that naturally. But overall, it's going to be phenomenal wealth that is going to be given away. So, and I've talked to a few people this week, and some of the plans I had are sort of changing because I'm not going to do anything that requires a lot of my time. I want to enjoy my time. I'm getting up there, and the years I have left, I'm going to enjoy them. I don't want to commit to having to do something every day of work. I'll do work, and I will work, but I don't want to have that commitment of some of the things that I was thinking about. Anyway, I'm not going to get into all that right now. That's for another video, but just watch yourself. You know, when this money comes in, the more you bless, the more it comes back to you anyway. So think about others. Think about how much you can give away. Think about the areas of where you can be of help. And I've talked to somebody else that is a member of the group, and we will likely schedule a meeting. I don't know if it'll be a phone meeting or we'll all get together. Anybody that is going to have excess money and knows that they want to give and do something and they don't know what to do, or you just want to be a part of this, a group of us, of Woolard Enterprise people, are going to get together, and as a group, you know, you may only have 10 or 20,000 to give, and somebody else may have 100,000, somebody else may have 1 million, somebody may have several million. But what we want to do is collectively as a group figure out what we can do to make a big difference in a lot of people's lives, and how we can go about that. You know, just have a, you know, whether it's a weekend and we just brainstorm on stuff and just get in here and talk about it. There's nothing formal scheduled yet. We've talked about it, and it's just going to be great to figure out what can we do as a group collectively. You know, you could do something with your 20 or 30 or $50,000 and do some good with it. But if we've got 10, 20, 30, 50 people, and we can all put in 20, 30, 50,000 each, what can we do? What difference? Where can we make the most impact? And we don't want to do it where most of it goes to overhead. We want to do it where it goes to help. So we'll take some help figuring all that out. And there'll be more on that later. But if you want to consider being a part of that group, everybody's going to be welcome to do it. And we may meet, who knows? We'll initially meet. We may meet once a quarter, twice a year, 5 times a year. I don't know yet. And all of that will have to be planned out. And it's a group effort. Nobody is going to be the leader of this. Right now I know there's 2 of us, and I think 3, but it would be awesome to have 20 or 30 people, and we as a group sit around and discuss, and we say, okay, majority, boom, okay, this, how much are we going to do this? This, if we did this, it's going to be this amount. So here's what we would need from everybody, and it should be equal. If I've got a lot more than most, then maybe I double mine or triple mine, and we'll figure that out as we go. It's just going to be we're going to be able to bless a lot of people with this, and I think that's one of the biggest things that we need to look at. We have been blessed with this. We need to pass that blessing on. This is our time to shine, and the more people we can touch, and the more we can give glory where the glory belongs. The more people we touch, the more people we can change their lives. It's going to be a phenomenal cycle. So anyway, I'm getting off track. Thank you, and I hope this was even a little bit of help to some of you. There are tons of resources out there. Start reading. Type in sudden wealth management, whatever, and start educating yourself. I don't think we really need people on the phone to tell us what we already should know by just doing some basic reading. So educate yourself, get prepared. It won't hurt to, once we know the rate has changed, it's going to be a while before that money comes in, before we get paid our first dividends. It's going to be a while. So you'll have a better understanding, and we'll be able to, once we know what the rate is and we see what the stocks are doing, it won't take us very long to kind of get a grasp on approximate dividends. I mean, we don't know if they're going to pay 5% or 10% or 15%, but we can kind of get into an area where we can consider more of what the dividends will be paid. So you'll have time from the time you hear the dinar's change. That means it's international. Now Iraq is exploding, and we'll be able to more closely than we are now, because we don't know. Are they going to float? Who knows? Are they going to do this? Who knows? So we don't, at that point, we'll know what's going to happen. And whether it's $1 or $3 or whatever it may be, then we know the stock values are going to change just as accordingly. And are they going to start skyrocketing? Are they going to start doing this? We'll know more once we finally have a rate. And there are many people that think it's right there. There's others that think, nope, it's going to be here and here. And so, you got to listen to whoever floats your boat, and we won't know until it actually happens. So we're waiting. And I get emails, hey, where are we at? I don't know about you. I'm sitting here waiting for the rate to change. I don't know when that's going to be. Hopefully soon. But until it does, we got to just breathe, relax, go live life. Enjoy life now as much as possible with this stupid pandemic. I'm not even going to get started. So anyway, I appreciate you listening to me for this long. Oh my goodness. Been talking for an hour. All right. Thank you all so much, and God bless you all. Thanks.